Well, it's open house day, and unfortunately it's a little bit rainy, but you know what? The show must go on, as they say. I am about 6 minutes out. I'm going to run through the video real quick for the 3-year-olds. I didn't get it done yesterday, so I'm going to run through it quick. Admiral Dio. When we got Admiral Dio, we bought a horse that was coming out of the field. We knew he would take a while to get ready, which is August, September, likely closer to September. The horse is growing on Harry quite quickly, so he likes him. When you get a horse that is bred well, and they just seem to act different, right? They have a little more class to them, and that's not to take anything away from any other horse. It just seems sometimes that the ones that are bred well, they're not always the best horses. It's just not always the way it is. But a lot of them seem to act the way they're supposed to, right? And it just, as horse people usually say, you just tell class, right? Talking about class, Arson, man, Pure Country's 3/4 brother. It's not that he's turned out to be a surprise. We paid $85,000, I think, for this horse, but he has certainly turned out to be a very, very good colt. A winner the other day in the Stallion Series. Now, we're going to talk about a number of horses on this list that have excelled over the last month or so, and a lot of them because we have them in the right class. Now, over the last week, we've struggled with that a little bit. Nobody's fault. Some of the horses weren't good enough. Some of the horses maybe were in a spot where, don't talk about Bruno. He makes a break leave, and he's 17-1 going to the gate, but there's not much you can do about that. It's a stake final, right? That's the way it is. So it's a little bit different. The horses that are in the overnights that were in over their heads or in tough, we need to move them around or simply move them. And I think that's something we have to clamp down on over the next 2-3 weeks here at the stable. So, and we'll talk about that. And the reason I bring it up is Arson moved from the Sire Stakes where he struggled just a hair, 4th and 5th, moving to the Stallion Series, and he's 2 wins in a row for this horse, and he looked very, very good. So just really, really happy with what I've seen from Arson so far, and he's been such a good colt for us. Blanton's Blue, again, certainly not the same stature as Arson, but raced well his last start, finished 3rd, tried at 55 and a piece, 27-4. He's in to go at Monticello his next start in a stake race. His dad said he was like 7-2 or something, as he should be. He's going to zip around a half, no problem. You're not going to have to worry about Blanton's Blue on a half-mile track. Now they're coming into his wheelhouse. We had to go to Vernon and race the bigger horses where they would be comfortable. Now they got to come to where we're going to be comfortable. So I'm eager to see Monticello, and I'm eager to see Blanton's Blue race at Monticello this week. Born to Dance, again, continuing with that trend of the right horse for the right class. This guy wins at an 8-hole, right? No gimmies. Every race is going to be tough, and certainly when you draw heat, it's going to be super tough. But that is what happens when you put a horse in the right class to do the right job with the right horse. Sometimes you'll get it done, and it's a complete opposite. When you put horses in where they don't belong, almost every time you're not going to get it done. And it's so very, very important to have them in where they can do, especially this time of year. And although Born to Dance has to move up a little bit now, I think he can handle it. So we'll see how that plays out over the next month. Dominion, I did race this week, I don't think, Dominion, but he'll be in to go this week. I know a lot of people say, well, what can he do? Just let the horse grow. He's a 3-year-old, made 2 lifetime starts. Let him grow up. If Harry says, hey, Anthony, he's just not going to do it Mohawk, that's all right. Fine, we'll just move him over here, race him in Pennsylvania or Ohio. Got to be careful, though. Now all the 2-year-olds. Today is open house day. All the 2-year-olds are qualifying. They might qualify another time, and then they're going to start racing. By the latter part of June, all of our 2-year-olds that are supposed to be ready right now will be going. So that is a factor, too, that has to play into everything. Don't talk about Bruno. We talked about him earlier on in another video. I said, listen, when you race a horse like Bruno, stake final's a little different. Stake final's a little different. When you go to the gate at 17-1 and you have the 2-hole with the leading driver in Canada driving them, you're probably in a tough class. Probably not going to be conducive to you doing well. Did the best we could. He did the best he could. Made a break leaving as James was trying to blast him out of there, but that happens. Just got to find a consistent place to race Bruno where he's 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. Stay away from those 17-1 shots unless you can. Now, as I said, totally different when you talked about the City of London final. But when we're racing in an overnight race, got to have those odds down and got to have the horses in where they can do good. Drebin raced great again the other night, 56-2. Fred? See, all this time he thought you were a Jonah or a Jinx. Drebin raced good, finished 3rd, 56-2. Trending in the right direction, and looks like he's going to be a decent horse for us moving forward. Flash Fly races next week, was sick, and her GGT was way up her last start. Tim's been working on that. We'll get that down. George of the Jungle's in at Mohawk. Kind of a tweener, right? Now I see he's like 10-1 morning line. He can do in the maiden at Mohawk. I think he can. We'll see how he does this week. I mean, this horse is a horse that I believe will do us some good. And I believe can race in the maiden Almers or 2 at Mohawk. If I'm wrong, we can find a spot for George. But he's certainly turned into be a decent horse thus far. Let's see if we can foster that moving forward. Great Bet. Made a break in his last start. Yes, I know Dominic said he scored him down and the hobbles seemed good. Just seemed to me like they were a little bit long. And one of our clients, Patricia, had said that they looked long. And honestly, I have to agree with her. They did look a little bit long. Snug them up a little bit, put him back into go, and we'll see how he races. Gypsy Hill has been racing great this year, man. I've been so happy with the way, and this is, a lot of these horses get to this point. You get to that precipice, and you don't know if they're going to be able to get over that hump. You don't know if they're going to be able to turn that corner and turn into be effective horses. Sweeney's on the bubble, right? He's doing good things, but certainly not crushing. He's racing in an Almers or 2 where he's like 4, 5, 6-1 every week. It's not like he's a layover. Where you have Gypsy Hill and Irresistible Sun, both have turned that corner. Both horses have trotted in 55 or 56 this year, and both look super effective in their divisions. But again, a deep division. They're not Sire Stake horses, but they're quality Buckeye horses. Halley in the Clouds sure made that break the other night. James did not have his trotting gloves on in London, that's for sure. Made the break with Halley and made the break with Bruno. That happens. He was trying to leave with both of them. I certainly have absolutely no complaints. They made a break leaving. But Halley in the Clouds, I like this filly. I think she's going to be a nice filly for us. It's a very, very well-bred muscle mass filly, and I think we're going to have fun with her. We just got to keep her on the right track. I'm Fancy Like raced great last night, 3rd and 54 and a piece out of the 7-hole. Raced very well. I'm very happy with her. Insider Trading, I got some minor, I don't want to jinx us, but it's very difficult to take a horse off the racetrack and get them in full first crack. It's not easy to do. There's a couple of mares we've been trying to breed all spring, and two of them have been very pesky. And then you have a horse like Pull the Shoes, fractures her foot, comes off the track, and gets bred. Optimism is tempered about her getting in full. We do the pregnancy check in 14 days. She's in full, and now she can absorb it, she can lose it, a lot can happen. So I'm not gonna, there's no high fives just yet, but there was a foal detected at 14 days, which is incredible in its own right. That is a tactical approach foal inside the belly of the Green Shoe sister to 6-pack. And that is a Green Shoe out of a sister to 6-pack. And that is Pull the Shoes. So Insider Trading, we're trying to get her bred. We did secure a breeding to Chimpanzee. She will be bred to Chimpanzee. Now, again, expectations are very tempered. The odds of us getting her in full off the track like this are low. They are low. But as you can see, it happened with Stay Special, and so far it's happened with Pull the Shoes. So optimism. Got to be optimistic in this regard. And the reason we're doing this is she's not a stake filly this year. She's a nice filly. There's nothing wrong with her. She trotted in 58 her last start. Trotted in 56 2 starts ago. But she's not a stake filly, and she's worth a lot of money as a broodmare. This is the actual sister, the Green Shoe sister to JL Cruz. So in full, same name as our doggy, but he is not a doggy. He was a very, very, very nice horse, Addie Bear. So Insider Trading will be bred to Chimpanzee. At the very least, we don't really have a lot to lose. We text Mom and tell her I'm coming. We don't really have a lot to lose when it comes to the breeding of Insider Trading, because I want to give her a couple of weeks off anyway. And that 3-week window is the latter part, the last few weeks, last 4 weeks of breeding season. So we don't really have a lot. We're not gambling a lot in that regard, but I would love to see her in full. Irresistible Sun, as I said a minute ago, just a tremendous, tremendous start to the year. I love this colt. Both him and Gypsy Hill have done great things so far for us, done everything we could have hoped that they would do, and have been very, very happy with them. You're going to have to go and grab the drinks. I know, but I'm doing a video, sweet. I'm just going to park right here. Yep, I'll take the donuts. I know, throw that one out. It was terrible. I had to get
throw it out in front of other people at Starbucks.
Of course, it's their drink. Who cares?
Them.
They don't care.
I throw it out.
Okay, hurry up, I'm late.
What do you want?
They're
Oh,
already
okay.
ordered. Irresistible Sun has looked fantastic. I've been super happy with him. J-Port Beach Boy is in the sale on Monday. He's going, and this is part and parcel of the plan. I told you guys, if the horses can't do this time of year especially, they are leaving, and that is that. So, Addie Bear, do not do that. Because I just told you is the biggest reason. J-Port Beach Boy heading out. Lonely Lakewood, again, 30-1 morning line in Kentucky. Just this poor colt, and it's not Eric's fault. It's just you can't get them in every week there. Now, this is the first week we're in back-to-back weeks. I know last week... Joey had said he wished he had stayed left. He would have done pretty well had he stayed left, but that's hindsight. So hopefully he stays left this week. But this will be a deciding factor for him. If he's a non-factor or even just present in Tuesday's race, then he will be leaving. Now, we are qualifying babies. We have Arson, Pickpocket, Memory and Imagination that will be heading down to Eric. So for Eric and Kathy, the drought will be over soon. I can assure you of that. Lovers Play, talk about droughts. This filly was on death's doorstep last year. Fought back, trained down when she shouldn't have been able to. Got to the races when she shouldn't have been able to. And was a winner in 58 the other day, which she shouldn't have been able to do, but somehow she does. Just a really, really, really nice filly to drive. And I really hope that she bounces forward and has a productive entire summer for her. You talk about tough broodmares. This is a tactical landing filly that, as I said, defied all odds to make it to the races and was a winner the other day. Probably a horse that's going to be sticking around for a while at the stable. Horses that won't be sticking around for a while is McPaisley. She's heading out on Monday also. 2 of them in the sale, 2 of them gone. They already have active bids, and there'll be zero protection on either of these horses. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm not racing, waiting to get in every couple of weeks with J-Port Beach Boy in the 16th race, which is a condition claimer, to finish first or second and then have him move up and be in. I'm not doing that. Somebody else can race J-Port Beach Boy and McPaisley. McPaisley qualified good. 2 minutes, last quarter in 28, last half 57 and a piece. She's not staying. Mel Gibbswan is in to go on Wednesday. He almost made his trip to Indiana last week. He will make it this week. I spoke to a couple of our partners. Marco obviously had said, it might be time to go to Indiana. I don't disagree. And if he hadn't got in Wednesday, he likely would have been in Thursday in Indiana. He'll be heading down there very, very soon. Happy with his progression. I'd love to see just one more step forward from him this week. Memory and Imagination was great the other day. 4th in 53. A very, very tough division. And, again, the voice of reason, my man Greg Schoner, and I don't know why it never dawned on me, looked at me and he says, why don't we race him in the Stallion Series? You're not going to be TCI. You have 3 divisions of killers. We plan on going to Kentucky with him anyway. Why don't you just race Memory and Imagination in the Stallion Series? Gotta love Greg. Always, the forest for the trees. He would have been in the Sire Stake next Saturday, but I just think that Greg's 100% right. He is going to the Stallion Series. There's no reason not to. He said there's only 15 horses in the Sire Stake division. That's going to be diminished as the year goes on. So even if they have a consolation, you're going to make the consolation. So you can choose to race in the consolation. And if you happen to make the Stallion final, great. If you don't, you don't. He said, but between Kentucky and everywhere else, why don't we just race in a Stallion? 100% correct. 100% correct. So that's where Memory and Imagination's going next Saturday in the Stallion Series and the Poconos. Militant will be in next week. I promise, Chris, he'll be in next week. Tim was training him up hard today. We'll see how that goes. Mounds for All. I'm not going to tell you exactly what Ronnie Wren said about him the other day, but trust me when I tell you, Ronnie Wren thought very, very highly of Mounds for All after his race the other day. Pickpocket was great. We scratched him. He's in Ontario. James and I are going to Mohawk Tuesday to train Pickpocket. James will be listed on Pickpocket next Saturday. And if he chooses not to drive him, maybe I could go over, or maybe Mark could go home. Just the first time you sit behind him, he doesn't, you got to know him. You got to know him. Scotty also could drive him. It doesn't matter to me. Anybody can drive him that knows him. So Scott, James, Mark, or myself will drive Pickpocket next week. Prince Charmer will be in soon. He's been racing good. Has not disappointed even in the least. Very happy with what I saw from Prince Charmer. Pull the shoes. I can't believe they said she's in full. So excited. I hope she retains it. I hope everything goes great from here on out. But as of right now, Pull the Shoes is in full to Tactical Approach. I just found out minutes ago. Punch the Clock is not in full yet. Now we have a number. Yeah, we have a number of options. Not a number, but we have some options on the table. If these drinks are going to take much longer, I got to leave. We have options on the table with Punch the Clock, and we're exploring them all right now. No, that's not it. Purple People Eater has been racing great and is in to go this week. Very happy with her. Ready for landing first and second since coming to the Meadows. He's been good. Really Don't Care, a decent fifth. She's racing this week, continuing to race out of the Jared Bothwell barn. And then after this week, once she races, she may go to Yonkers. You might have Megan race her in the Nomers or two or something. Mark swears she get around Yonkers, so that's where she can go. Sunset Acres Girl will be ready to qualify this week. Very, very happy with her. I told you the Michigan horses will be ready to go. Sweeney continues to race decent. I'd like to see him step forward, but a good race the other night. Time Is on My Side has been racing great. He's going to have about 2 weeks off. His next official race is a month from now. 7 weeks from now. So a bit of a break for Time Is on My Side. Victory Blue Chip will go into the maiden claimer. Nomers a 2 claimer at the Meadows next week because that's where he belongs. Watch Your Mouth qualified yesterday, and Widespread Panic. A little bit of a lunatic the other day, but he'll be okay. So those are your 3-year-olds. I gotta get going. I'm late. I'm gonna go get Ava. Those are your 3-year-olds, all done so far. I'm gonna talk about the 2-year-olds in the opening after the open house.